Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Marshall Post. If I sound a bit rusty, and if I have kind of like I might have a lower tone of voice, or I have a deep voice right now. That's mostly because I just literally woke up. Well, not exactly. I had a few, maybe around half an hour of scrolling YouTube shorts, which I don't recommend after you woke up right away. But here we are. Welcome back to the Marshall Post. It's been a while. My latest upload was perhaps quite a long time ago. It was back. Wait, let me see my YouTube studio real quick. It was back in January, so it's been quite a while. There have been a lot of advancements and changes into my channel. Thank God. They're very good changes, of course, but I kind of forgot my promise about bringing back the Marshall Post and at least doing 10 episodes of the podcast. And I do have a couple of more articles coming up, including this one. This one is not yet published on my Substack newsletter, but I'm just going to read it out anyways because this is a topic that I've been thinking about since I graduated college. So back in uni, not college, but yeah, when I was in uni, when I was finishing my bachelor's degree in computer science, I was actually specializing in AI because not the company, my bad, the university, for the computer science program, they had a focus on machine learning and big data and all those buzzwords that you might have heard back in 2018, 2019, when everyone started learning data science basically, and everyone wanted to become a tech guy, and they want to work in Fang and such and things like that. So I was on that train. And now that we've seen AI and how it's overhyped sometimes, which I do agree, sometimes it's overhyped, and there's just lots of people that has not dipped their toes and make dip their toes wet into this issue. And so I realized that sometimes relying on AI too much is not healthy, and it gives us this false sense of security that, oh yeah, I can just tell AI to do that for me, which you can in a lot of cases these days. And you can definitely use AI to learn, and that was probably one of the very first good real world applications that I could recommend. AI can definitely help you with learning very hard topics in school. I was in a computer science degree, and I had ChatGPT 3.0 or 2.0 even back then to explain to me and how some machine learning algorithm works, and it was awesome. I All I had to do was keep asking it very precise questions, and it will answer back to my questions so that I'm ready for this presentation that I'm going to do in front of my whole class. And that's what I did over and over back in college. So, but yeah, we're just going to go through a bunch of points on why I'm decreasing my reliance on AI. So there are 3 points. Number one is that AI makes you lazy. And number two, does abusing early AI, which I will go into later, technology today glorify God? This is a very important question for us Christians as we see this issue keeps coming back up. Can we use AI? Is it ethical? Like, is it something that Christians should rely on? And point number three is to be mindful and be more intentional. Now, let's go ahead to point number one, which is that AI makes you lazy. And I'm pretty sure that some of you might have already understood why this is first. As it is the most obvious reason to stop with all of this AI hype. And yes, the technology is growing fast, and you should see Google VO3, which was the recent model that was quite viral. And there are already tutorials, hundreds of them even on YouTube, compiled in different languages on how you can make like a quick buck, how you can make money fast, and how you can generate AI videos with a single prompt. And keep in mind, this single prompt does not need like any effort basically. So the videos that Google VO3 produced are almost good enough to be unrecognizable from real life footage when I first saw it on Twitter. compare that to the early stages of AI, making Will Smith eating some spaghetti. And they're able to write very good scripts on how the characters should act based on the single prompt, and they act it out right away in the video, just like, let's say, what an average high schooler filmmaker used to make back in 2015 on their brand new YouTube channel. And I admit it, Google VO3 is very good, as is most other video generative AIs out there. But all of that comes with a cost, and that is, some of them are free, by the way, and which is this goes back to this point, that is, if you don't have to pay for it, then you are the product. A lot of times you might think that, oh, I'm just using AI as a tool, but have you ever felt like that you are the tool? And instead, the company who has this AI model is using you to train their AI. And the thing about AI is that it makes you smarter, right? It makes itself smarter. I mean, it makes the AI smarter by itself when it learns from the prompts that you input into them. And obviously, the more that you rely on AI to make content, the more you'll get used to things being fake. The more you get, you'll get used to things being so easy to make. And sometimes, if this happens, on and on, if this keeps going, people will realize that, man, there's so many trash content out there, and you'll realize someday that what's the point of working so hard anyways if AI could do it better than me, right? And it's just depressing. Like, what am I gonna do that AI does not do? And so the point of working so hard and learning all of those textbooks that you have in college and in high school, and getting back up after failure is because we don't want to be slaves to AI. Sure, a ChatGPT could pretty much do all the things an admin staff job today in a mid-sized company would do, but the minimum wage admin staff has more to offer than you might think. It is so important that we understand what is the current global agenda with AI. As with most things, the agenda is to make us dependent on AI. Think of that last toxic relationship you had with your ex. I know it's bad. And it's another attempt by multiple groups of individuals who wishes to make some quick profit and to watch as the world burns. It is what it is. You have to realize that this world is broken. It is enslaved by sin, as most people are. And nothing can break free from that slavery other than Jesus Christ. So let me remind you, I'll go ahead and read you a verse from the Bible, which is from Genesis 1, verse 28. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Now, I'm not Einstein, but I'm pretty sure that God meant humans, which was what this verse was directed for, to have that dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Not your AI girlfriend generated by Sam Altman from from ChatGPT. I mean, from OpenAI, my bad. Some of you might think that I'm joking around with this total writing, or maybe with these examples that I'm giving you, but I'm trying to make it as obvious as possible. Sometimes we forget that, hey, this is a task that is given to us solely because we are literally agents of God. We are made in His image, and so we must have dominion over the earth that He has given us here. And so again, the point goes, don't be enslaved by AI. Don't be so used to it that you're lazy to do basically anything. Now, each of us are called to take care of this world that is created as good by God. Remember that. Who are we to ignore such a noble mission? Who are we to just rely on, I'll just let ChatGPT do my homework. I'll just let it do the thinking. Does that not mean that we leave it to something that is created by humans that could be basically self-destructing to humans, making them more lazy? We're going to abuse AI to the point that we don't even want to work anymore. And we're going to ruin tens or hundreds of generations ahead if we keep up this hype. Surely we don't want to do that. And I'll read you another verse from the book of Psalm. I'm not the this is from Proverbs, I think. Yeah, this is. I wrote the wrong book here. It is from Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6 to 11. Go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief, officer, or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest. How long will you lie there, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man. You'll have to level up, my guy. The bar keeps getting higher for us Christians, especially those who are working right now, to be agents of change, to be different, to not be enslaved by AI, basically. And for a good start, to not just be lazy. Do not be enslaved to AI. Once I keep saying this because this is one of the main points that I want to bring, is that you gotta keep reading the Bible on your own. Don't let AI to interpret it for you, which is quite dangerous. I've seen that people are relying on AI to give spiritual wisdom, basically, um, on on the Bible, and we are only servants to Christ and not to anything else. And don't be serving AI. Don't be feeding them this data that because you're so dependent on it. Now it's getting smarter and you're getting dumber. You can use AI, but don't demonize it. Sorry, demonize it and mark on it as evil right away. Again, AI is not completely evil. It's only evil if the guy or the human that's using it is abusing it and is not relying on his or her own conscience to basically judge whether this is bad or not, right? It is important to not let yourself astray by the convenience it gives you every time. So again, AI is super convenient, but you have to realize we're not to be led astray by this, and we have to stay focused that, hey, God gave me an amazing brain. I should use it with all of my power. I should basically develop these talents that God has given me, right? Through my intellectual thinking. I should read books. I should read the Bible. I should read, books on philosophy, books on psychology. And again, embrace hard work. You guys, don't be lazy. Embrace self-discipline to your craft and do not rely on AI too much, and whatever that may be. Again, if you're doing, personally, I work at a very creative job. I have to edit videos. I have to write marketing um, copies for my company, and so I don't want to rely on AI for that. I just want to be able to learn something. Let's say like from a sales workshop that I learned from, and I want to take notes and I want to write. I want to practice writing, copywriting by myself instead of relying on AI, because remember, you are what you consume and you are what you write. You're what you read. So you got to be really careful about AI and don't rely too much on it, because once again, it makes you lazy. It makes you lazy, and imagine if your children is also lazy because the parents are lazy. It's going to ruin them. It's going to ruin them. Ruin them. So again, embrace hard work, embrace self-discipline to your craft, and do not be lazy. Don't get enslaved by AI. The second point is, does abusing early AI technology today glorify God? What I count today, what I see today, with all the large language models, with the models that can generate images and such, those are pretty much early and they're very niche, right? They're very niche because they can only answer questions that you prompt them, and they can give you images based on your prompts, but they're not exactly super intelligent, right? They're not exactly super intelligent. And as a Christian, I'm sure you've tried on many things to avoid sinful behaviors, maybe by reading the Bible, listening to church hymns, practicing mindfulness by getting rid of any kind of distractions. But I always ask myself, does this AI thing, does this glorify God if I use it? What exactly should I do to glorify God even more through my daily activities? Should I just withdraw myself completely from society, from all this technology, so that I can practice purity with absolute silence? But if that is the case, why did God put me here in the first place? And so I'll read you a verse from Mark, and two verses from Mark chapter 16, and from something from the Westminster Shorter Catechism. And so Mark 6, verses 15 to 16, and he said to them, "Go into all the world and proclaim the gospel to the whole creation. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned." And what is the chief end of man? Man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. So my point is here that there is nothing wrong with utilizing AI to help your work, but my point still stands that you should not be enslaved by it, to make things more efficient and better in our ministry work, which is, again, it's helpful, right? But always keep in mind my previous point, which is not to be enslaved by AI, and this point, which is to glorify God. When you use it to maybe make videos and telling Bible stories, which people have done on YouTube, by the way, which you might have seen a lot on YouTube, I'm sure it would help some people to have attention on your video and the main points of said Bible story. But however, abusing AI to pump out content like that is not exactly the most elegant way to preach the gospel or to get people to know the Bible more. Some might see it as a poor effort to preach. It's like it's so cheap because you basically don't put any effort into it. You just put prompts into this AI and it'll just pump out videos and content based on your prompts. And no human touch and effort was put into it other than simply typing in a prompt. Again, that's what I said. Be careful of this modern abuse. You may mean well, but you can picture that when you someday face the end of your life. Imagine at the end of your life, you'll be faced, well, basically, you are responsible for what you did. Do you want to be the guy who abuses AI to pump out cheap content like that on YouTube? Or do you want to be the guy who wants to put the human touch, the effort into preaching the gospel? Now, I know that I'm not saved by my works. I agree. But as Christians, we are called to be living sacrifices, as Paul have said in the book of Romans. And so this is from Romans 12, verses 1 until 2. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. And that includes your life's work, your job, your studies, the YouTube video that you're editing. Present it as a worthy sacrifice and offering to the Lord, as we do with our church choirs, which are beautiful, as we do with our social work in our church buildings. The artists behind those clearly wanted to present the best of the best to the one true God. Have that in mind when you use AI. Do not abuse it. But when you do, present it as a worthy offering. Don't mindlessly put in prompts and say, "That's it for me today. I'll let AI do its thing for me." Present yourself. Present your work as a living sacrifice for God. And this is a very good quote that I like from Abraham Kuyper. I think he's a Dutch reform guy, if I'm not mistaken. There is not a square inch in the whole domain of our human existence over which Christ, who is sovereign over all, does not cry, "Mine." So since everything is made by and for Christ, we should have it to be Lord over everything that we do. And that is a very good reminder. Every time you want to do something, just remember, this glorify God. And I know that I've been silly in a lot of my online interactions and with my friends, and this is something that I have to reflect to every time. This glorify God, But yeah, thank you guys for listening. I hope I'm able to convince you to perhaps be mindful about using AI, and not to be too lazy, or maybe to to be enslaved by it, to use it so much that now you can't think on your own on your own foot. It's quite dangerous right there, so you gotta be careful with that kind of thinking. But once again, thank you for listening. God bless you, and have a good time. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.